r/AskReddit. What is the most useless invention you have seen? Those old vibrating belts that you would put around your waist to help with losing weight. That's my first memory of thinking something was a ploy to take money from people through useless gimmicks. Good old jigglers. Because jiggling fat cells makes them go away, I guess. Just like having something swirl your hips around does. Like the Hawaii chair. So in my giant store, they have a robot that randomly turns on and rolls around the store looking for messes. And when it finds one, it just stands there and does nothing. Just standing there waiting for someone to clean up the mess. Marty, ours creates an overhead announcement, but 99% of the time the mess is a fallen sale sticker or something equally innocuous. Supposedly it also scans shelves for general inventory insight, but unless the one camera is wide angle, I don't believe that. Whatever that bracelet was that supposedly balanced one's kai. Oh my, loads of people had those back in college, lol. There's a US patent filed for a device that delivers babies through centrifugal force by spinning the mother in a circle. Yeetus fetus. You often see this advertisement about the wristband that gives you electric shocks as a punishment if you try to break a bad habit, like smoking. This is called aversion therapy. Well, this electric shock wristband has no magical sensors to detect when you are doing what you want to stop, and you have to push a button to give you the electric shock. If you would just use rubber band around your wrist and let it slap on your wrist, as a punishment, you would basically get the same result for a fraction of the price of the electric shock band. Last year for Christmas, my insane aunt gave me a breakfast sandwich maker. I sold it before I used it, but the instructions made it look like you had to cook everything first, and then you insert the food in some slots and it will stack them up to make a sandwich. Stupidest thing I've ever seen. Saw Bluetooth dice on Kickstarter a few days ago. What? Why? What are they connecting to? Look up Chindogu. It's the Japanese art of the useless invention. Basically things that might almost work, but effectively don't because they're impractical, like umbrella golf clubs. Beer foamer, so that your beer has a nice foamy head, like beer on TV. Came across it at a yard sale, still in the original packaging. LOL. Yeah, just put soap in it to get the foam like a normal person. There was a TV show on True TV called World's Dumbest, and each episode would be just a collection of different videos with celebrities reacting to them. They had World's Dumbest Inventions where they showed off dumb crap. I think the worst was a plastic thing sort of shaped like a dog. So if your dog wouldn't stop humping things, it had a designated thing to hump. Cocktail napkins. They completely fail at their purpose. Also, in some locations, they just blow the duck away. Next time you see someone open a bunch of cocktail napkins, think to yourself, 100% of that will be thrown in the dump after unsatisfactorily fulfilling their mission. Coasters, on the other hand, are superior in almost every way. Oh, maybe you can't stuff them inside the neck of a beer, but I don't want people doing that with cocktail napkins anyways. I got some piece of shit solar powered water fountain that only squirts under full sun over 40 degrees, which even in zone 9B where I live is rare. I'm guessing it was designed for people on Mars or something. These refrigerators with Bluetooth and Pandora. Ducking why? You can't now buy an oven with a camera in it, so you don't have to get up and check it, just look via an app on your phone. And imagine the time-lapse cooking videos. The Mendocino motor. Its power output is too damn low to fulfill any meaningful task except showing off its own principle. It's a nice desk decoration though. That's not a useless invention, that's a dope office ornament. I want one. My granddad was a NASA master machinist for the Saturn series rockets. On his break times, using a bit of spare metal, he'd create little trinkets and gifts for my grandmother, and one he created for my dad and uncles was what he called a do-nothing machine. It consisted of a solid steel rectangle about 3x3 inches, and maybe a ½ inch thick with 2 grooves cut in a cross pattern, and a handle to make 2 plates move back and forth within the grooves as you spun the handle. My dad and uncles never found anything useful for it, and when I was a kid I would try, and fail, to crack nuts to eat with it. If anyone else is curious as to what the hell I'm talking about, look on Google for a do-nothing machine. pretty much anything in the Sky Mall catalog. A $600 end table shaped like a sumo wrestler. I'll take 4. Or kitchen gadgets that are specific to one food ingredient. That is, the banana slicer, the taco propper, pizza shears, the egg cooker, etc. I remember seeing Bic pens marketed specifically for women. Why the butts would you gender a pen? The salad fork. I don't see why shorter makes it better. Been watching some old episodes of Shark Tank recently. Two come to mind. One guy had a webcam blocker so people don't spy on you by hacking your webcam. That's a real concern. But his offered solution was a little plastic clip, I forget the name he gave it, that you pop on your computer or smartphone so it covers the lens. He was selling them for $10 each. Mark Cuban asked him why anyone would pay him $10 when they could just use a post-it note that they probably had lying around anyway to do the same thing. The guy's response was, "You're right. This is my biggest competition." And then pulled a stack of those alternating side post-its out of his pocket and waved them around and then said, "Who wants these stuck all over your computer and forgets about them though?" He was prepared. He had apparently thought of the reason his invention was useless and plowed ahead anyway. The second one was the elephant in the room. Literally, that was their product. The inventors were a couple that had met and gotten married in 6 weeks and had a genius product for conflict resolution based on their 18 months of marriage. It was a little plastic box with a cover over it that had a plush elephant inside. You leave it on your coffee table or whatever, and when one spouse needs to talk to the other they remove the cover and reveal the elephant in the room, so when the other person comes in and sees it they know they need to talk about something. You know, rather than just going up to their spouse and speaking to them like a sane adult. Also, they were selling them for $60 a pop for a 6-inch plastic cube with a $2 plush elephant in it. Eggies. Apparently without it I'd be peeling eggs all day. The DVD rewinder? I remember those being sold, and people being convinced that it lengthens the life of the DVD by running it backwards. Fake testicles for dogs. I knew a lady that had this done so that she could still show her dog, but had no interest in studying him if he won. She just wanted to keep her hobby. You cannot show a neutered dog and the judges never noticed a difference. Juicero. LOL. Yep, I remember watching a video on YouTube about this and the dude was able to squeeze just as much juice from the packet as the machine did. AirPod wires to never lose them. Want to spend an enormous amount of money to flex your silly AirPods, but don't want to risk losing them? Just buy these nifty strings. Never seen before technology. The electric hammer, so you don't have to swing it. I thought it was just something The Simpsons made up for an episode, so it's real? The plastic tub you put boiling water in and then soak dry pasta until it becomes soft and gummy and gross and ready to eat. I'm an idiot who actually bought one of those things. The first time I used it I realized 2 things. First, I was adding an unnecessary step to the pasta cooking process, and second, all it did was make the pasta stick together at the bottom when I tried using it for elbow macaroni. Socks for hands. Remember that kid who even made it to medias about making a machine to harvest free energy using coils and a spoon and the sucker journalists ate it up? Yeah, that. It's useless to boot. Sure, he did indeed harvest enough energy to barely light up a few low-powered LEDs, but was completely bullshitting as that few cents worth of free energy he was harvesting was just his dad's several $100 electrical bill he took it from. The twinkle touch that covers your cat's butthole by tying a glittery circle onto the base of the tail. If you can't stand looking at cat butt, I have bad news for you about owning a cat. I'm not joking when I say this, but battery-powered solar panels. This'll get buried, but it's an invention that 8-year-old me came up with for a school project. It was a giant tape player that you kept in the fridge and put your milk on. The weight of the milk would trigger the play button, playing an audio recording saying you do not need to buy milk. Then, when the milk was running low, it would be too late to hit the play button and the absence of the audio would indicate that it's time to buy milk. All that, including hitting the stop and rewind buttons almost every time you put the milk away for something a person could easily see. The pop-up "I am 18 or older" on porn site. The pet rug. So useless and yet it made millions of dollars. Genius if you ask me. Ah yes, the manspreading chair. A protective case for the Nokia 3310 Nokia brick. Automatic soap dispenser. The marketing campaign said there are so many germs on top of a push-down dispenser that you shouldn't touch it and use the automatic version instead. It didn't seem to matter that immediately after touching the top of the dispenser you wash your hands. I totally understand what you're saying. The only thing I can think of is if you have like visible gunk on your hands like chocolate sauce or chicken juice. Sure, you could just clean the soap dispenser after you've washed your hands. IDK, that's all I got. See ya. Eyelashes for cars. It's ugly and a waste of money. A weed whacker that uses steel wire instead of the plastic string. So powerful it can cut down a tree after chipping away at it for a minute. Seems cool, but you only really use weed whackers for fences and the sides of houses. Whoops, I got too close, I cut down my fence post. Whoops, now I need new siding and paint. Oh dear, I ripped a hole in the side of my shed. Testicles for your truck. I just imagine someone putting a massive steel pair on a tiny little Volkswagen and making a massive plume of sparks as the pair drags along the highway. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.